Before motorcycle stadiums, before freestyle competitions, before millions of fans watched stunt riders online, there were fearless men who risked everything on two wheels. More than a century ago in America, motorcycles were not just machines. They became symbols of courage, speed, and danger. Thousands gathered at county fairs and traveling carnivals, holding their breath as riders raced across wooden tracks, launched over obstacles, and defied what most people believed was possible. These were the world's first motorcycle daredevils. They had no modern safety equipment, no advanced technology, only extraordinary skill, determination, and the willingness to risk everything for one incredible performance. But who were these pioneers? When did motorcycle stunt riding really begin? And how did a simple machine evolve into one of America's most thrilling sports? Today, motorcycle stunt riding is recognized around the world. From breathtaking wheelies and burnouts to freestyle competitions and spectacular stunt shows, millions of people enjoy watching riders push the limits of skill and precision. But every great story has a beginning. To understand how motorcycle stunt riding became a global phenomenon, we must travel back more than 100 years, to a time when motorcycles themselves were still a revolutionary invention. In the early 1900s, America was experiencing a transportation revolution. Motorcycles offered people a faster and more affordable way to travel. Soon, adventurous riders began discovering that these machines could do much more than simply carry them from one place to another. At county fairs, racetracks, and traveling carnivals across the United States, riders started performing daring demonstrations to entertain crowds. What began as simple displays of balance and control gradually evolved into thrilling exhibitions of courage and skill. These early performances laid the foundation for modern motorcycle stunt riding. Every wheelie, jump, and freestyle trick seen today can trace its roots back to those fearless pioneers who inspired generations of riders. In this episode, we'll uncover where motorcycle stunt riding began in America, meet the early daredevils who captivated audiences, and explore why this exciting form of entertainment became one of the nation's most celebrated motorcycle traditions. So, let's begin our journey at the very start of the story. To discover the true beginning of motorcycle stunt riding, we must first understand America at the turn of the 20th century. Around 1900, the United States was changing rapidly. Cities were growing, factories were expanding, and new inventions were transforming everyday life. Among those inventions was a remarkable new machine, the motorcycle. The first motorcycles were simple by today's standards. They had small engines, basic frames, and very little suspension. Roads were mostly dirt or gravel, and every ride demanded skill and determination. For many Americans, motorcycles represented something entirely new: freedom, speed, and adventure. As motorcycles became more common, manufacturers searched for new ways to show the public just how capable these machines were. One of the best ways to do that was through live demonstrations. Riders began performing in front of crowds at county fairs, exhibitions, and racing events. At first, these displays focused on balance, control, and the motorcycle's ability to handle difficult terrain. But audiences wanted more than demonstrations. They wanted excitement. To attract larger audiences, riders started attempting increasingly daring maneuvers. They rode faster, climbed steeper ramps, and performed tricks that pushed both rider and machine to their limits. These performances were not yet the freestyle stunts we know today. Instead, they were the first steps toward motorcycle stunt riding, a new form of entertainment built on courage, precision, and showmanship. By the early 1910s, motorcycle exhibitions had become a regular attraction at fairs and racing venues across America. Spectators traveled from nearby towns to watch riders perform feats that seemed almost impossible. One of the most dramatic innovations of this era was the use of steep wooden tracks. These circular structures eventually became famous as the Wall of Death, where riders demonstrated extraordinary control, by riding horizontally along vertical wooden walls. Although these attractions became widely popular in the following decades, they reflected the same spirit that had driven the earliest motorcycle performers: the desire to amaze audiences and prove what both rider and machine could achieve. Looking back today, these early exhibitions may seem simple compared with modern stunt competitions. Yet every wheelie, every burnout, and every freestyle trick performed today owes something to those first riders who dared to entertain crowds more than a century ago. The stage was now set for a new generation of motorcycle daredevils, men and women whose fearless performances would turn motorcycle stunt riding into an American legend. By the early 1900s, motorcycles had become more than a new form of transportation. They had become a stage for extraordinary courage. Across the United States, a new generation of riders began traveling from town to town, performing at county fairs, racetracks, and carnivals. They weren't just racers. They were entertainers who risked their lives to amaze audiences. Unlike today's professionals, these pioneers had almost no modern safety equipment. There were no advanced helmets, no protective riding suits, and no airbags. Every performance depended on skill, experience, and confidence. Even a small mistake could end a career, or worse. Many of these early performers first earned their reputations in motorcycle racing. As racing grew in popularity, some riders realized that crowds were just as fascinated by daring exhibitions as they were by competition. Soon, motorcycle demonstrations became major attractions, with spectators gathering to witness riders perform steep climbs, high-speed turns, precision riding, and other challenging feats that seemed impossible at the time. One of the most unforgettable attractions was the famous Wall of Death. Inside a giant wooden cylinder, riders accelerated until they could ride horizontally along the vertical walls. The roar of the engine echoed through the arena, while amazed spectators looked down from above. The Wall of Death wasn't just a test of courage. It was a demonstration of balance, speed, and the powerful force that kept both rider and motorcycle attached to the wall. These performances inspired thousands of Americans. Newspapers covered the events. Children dreamed of becoming riders, and motorcycle companies welcomed the publicity, because every successful stunt demonstrated the strength and reliability of their machines. Some performers became local celebrities, traveling across the country with carnivals and exhibitions. Although many of their names have been lost to history, their influence remains visible in every modern stunt show. Today's motorcycle stunt riders perform wheelies, stoppies, drifting, and freestyle tricks using advanced motorcycles and specialized safety gear. But more than a century ago, those first daredevils achieved something even more remarkable. They proved that motorcycles could inspire awe as well as provide transportation. Their fearless performances laid the foundation for the motorcycle stunt culture that continues to captivate audiences around the world.